All right, this is my personal leadership short story for leadership in a global context, Mean 231. It is March 5th, and my story goes as such. So for my job, I sell professional sports memorabilia, so football, basketball, baseball sports cards. With part of my job, I travel a fair bit to different regions in the country and sometimes even without the country. Outside of the country, excuse me, and we buy, sell, and trade large quantities of sports cards. So essentially, we'll come into a sports convention, my team and I will buy anywhere from like 200 to 600 sports cards that total in value anywhere from like $50,000 to $250,000. And we will buy them at a lower margin because of how many we're buying in bulk. And we'll turn around and resell those for closer to what they're worth, maybe 95, 96% of what they're worth. And so that marginal difference is what we end up taking home and making. Recently, I had my team, we worked on an $86,000 deal online, so we weren't actually in person at a sports card show. And unfortunately, some of the cards were not only misplaced, but they were recorded wrong in our sheet system. We have a Google Sheet shared with all the cards, their names, what their values are, how much we paid for them, where they're coming from, how they were shipped, tracking information, all of that stuff. And so unfortunately, my team, they kind of had some misorganization and some slip up, and they sort of came to me as far as, sort of the leader and the boss saying like, hey, we messed up. And obviously this is not a small mess up. This is $86,000 of sports cards we're talking about. And so I kind of had to just break it down and look at ways in which I could, one, mitigate the problem. I obviously don't want this to happen again. Two, how can we fix it immediately right now? And three, how can I do that without my team feeling like they, totally messed up or that their efforts weren't worthwhile? And so I called a team meeting. I asked everyone to sort of come together and sort of just talk about what happened. Unfortunately, some of the kids were unclear as far as what they should be doing with this deal. Some of them were supposed to be tracking the shipping and making sure that each card was getting to where it needed to go to our buyers that were buying the card from us. Some of them, the prices were mixed up on their sheet, and so they ended up just kind of doing a sloppy job instead of tracking to make sure that everything was marked correctly and how it should be. And so we kind of talked about how the problem occurred and what we can do to make sure it doesn't happen again. And it was a cool moment for me to learn from the other guys. While I had some initial ideas as to how we could better organize it, they kind of came together on the front line saying, hey, here's I think what we could work.